I recently built this giant camera arm for my workshop, and it has a ton of 3D printed parts. And at its core are these 4 quite large and quite complex 3D printed parts. And it was during the printing of these that I ran into some issues. The bottoms of these parts did come out quite warped. One of the main reasons for the warping is a combination of the parts' long and thin geometry and them being very close to the edge. So they warp up from the build plate or even lift up the build plate itself. If I'm doing everything right and I'm having issues with this, chances are that many of you guys that want to print these parts are also going to have a hard time with this. And even though this is a quite complex project, I wanted to make it as easy as possible for someone to recreate it. So I decided to do some testing. And by some, I mean a lot of testing. I tested everything from infill perimeters, print speeds, cooling fans, glue sticks, brims, rafts, custom brims, and custom rafts. But I still had the issue of the plate lifting up. I tried printing out small clamps to clamp down the build plate, but even then the forces were just too strong. I even tried printing out additional geometry that would purposefully lift up the build plate in the opposite direction, which mostly just wasted a bunch of filament. Then I even tried changing the geometry to one that would be less impacted by the warping forces, but ended up ditching that effort because I lost too much of the rigidity and wasn't seeing enough of an improvement. But then I found something that would make all the difference. In the slicer, using modifiers, customizing where the material is being put down. Because in a print like this, a lot of the warping comes from all the material in the middle here that is trying to contract and ends up bending up. But where the material actually is needed is in all the structures that are gonna have bolts through and are actually structural to hold everything together. So I used modifiers to increase the amount of plastic that is being used in all of these areas and decrease greatly the amount of plastic that is used in just the supporting areas in the middle. And in addition to that, I turned off all external part cooling fans, I used glue stick, and I made my own brims, which are thicker and that I modeled myself. All of that combined made a huge difference. And I will include all the Bambu Lab slice files for all of these parts pre-sliced and pre-configured. You can get the files at alch.shop.